Hey everyone, and welcome back to another video. So, Faction Incursions are a new feature in patch 8.1, and as the name suggests, they're all about the enemy faction launching a strike into your territory, or your faction doing the same to them. It's all being done through the framework of world quests, so these are essentially another take on the Legion invasions of patch 7.2. That said, they are a little bit different, and the rewards are probably going to be very interesting to you. So, let's talk about how this new feature works. Now, they're decently similar to Legion invasions. Actually, the PTR uses the Legion invasion icon on the map. So yeah, driven by the same tech, lifted from Legion, but there's actually some key differences in the implementation that I'll flag up later. So an incursion will appear in a zone, either Alliance or Horde. So if the incursion is in Borealis, as an example, then Alliance players will have quests themed around defending their territory, while the Horde will have quests themed around, attacking. And this is a much better implementation than them just being, say, defense only, with Alliance and Horde having different ones in their continent at the same time. I guess it's just more thematic, having the war kind of have a flashpoint that all players go to at the same time. And with this expansion, that's particularly strong as a bit of design because, well, if you're interested in war mode, this is great because it will put players of both factions into the same zone for war mode, which is brilliant. Now, when you enter the zone, you'll see a bunch of new world quests in the incursion area. You will also get a quest in your log to complete 4 incursion world quests. Now, attacking players will have to complete the 4 world quests, and then they can go back to their home city for the reward. However, for defending players, there is a final step. You will need to take the fight to the enemy by boarding their airship and sabotaging it. Now, unlike the Legion invasion scenarios, this is a solo activity that doesn't take that long to complete, which is far better than the scenarios that capped off the Legion invasions, which were long and boring. Now, the only thing that we don't know thus far is the specifics of their timing. I'm anticipating it'll be roughly similar to the Legion invasions. Right now, they last for 20 hours in the PTR, and they're up a lot, but that could just be to increase their availability for testing purposes. Now, let's talk about the rewards here. So you will have regular world quest rewards coming from the new world quests, which makes a lot of sense, but you'll also get a random bit of 370 Azerite gear or a weapon for completing 4 of them. Now, that's extremely powerful because it's going to equate to 1 to 2 bits of Azerite gear per week. Now, it's currently 370, but we don't know exactly how this will scale once Siege of Zuldazar and therefore BFA Season 2 rewards come out. Of course, the Siege of Zuldazar raid will come out probably about 2 months or maybe 2.5 after this patch if we're following the Legion template. So this means that this will give you a steady source of heroic Uldir quality Azerite gear at launch, though do note that the Azerite gear comes from the Warfront pool. Now, this also does come in conjunction with the Emissary changes, where the Emissaries can give you up to 370 Azerite gear based, of course, on your item level. So this gives you maybe another 3 sources of 370 Azerite gear per week. That's a good bit more than what we've have now, and that'll be definitely great for getting a new character geared up pretty quickly. I mean, hell, put your character through some Mythic Plus and then a few of these and you'll be in great shape. Now, this all, of course, pales in comparison to the one thing that really matters for many players, and that's the usefulness for leveling, which, of course, is kind of crazy, big fast way to level up characters early on in the expansion. Now, even though we don't have flying, and these won't take that long because of how the world quests spawn in, which I'll cover in a second. So essentially, they will continue to be strong for leveling, especially if you can get multiple characters ready and then batch them through incursions once they come out. So with the rewards covered, let's talk about just overall impressions. So I found the theme to be far more strong than the Legion invasions, because the Legion invasions felt very random, but the incursions feel a lot more targeted, as if they are actual enemy attempts to mess up your faction. Fighting enemy faction people, it finally is bringing the expansion theme to max level, and that just makes the action feel a bit more, personal and motivated, which is all quite good. Now, the thing that matters here, that causes all of what I just said, is Blizzard's implementation and how it reinforces this. They actually occur in a small area, these world quests. This means that it feels like a targeted strike that's launched from the enemy's airship. Now, while this may have been driven by gameplay concerns, it actually does help with just the feeling of pace and immediacy, and this is also quite nice because flying isn't in this patch. So, incursions happening in a smaller, more navigable battlefield, that's quite good. Now, it also does make the world quest formula feel a lot better because world quests feel very random and spread out across the world. They don't feel that designed, like the flow of them, and playing them kind of feels like you're just being strung along from random point to random point in the map. It's not a great flow of gameplay. However, with how these incursions spawn in, you've got minimal travel time between the world quests, so it feels like you're actually engaging in a slice of the faction war for 15 or 20 minutes in one go, rather than a few small, few minute chunks interspersed by travel time. Now, while these are not earth-shattering changes to the world quest formula, it's actually amazing how much better the gameplay feels of doing them. I mean, I'm not saying this is the best thing thing ever, but it really did surprise me how much better they felt to me versus the Legion ones. Now, they don't give you a currency or anything. That's a bit odd to me because Blizzard just seems to be completely against currencies at this stage. Of course, we've got nether shards from the 7.2 invasions, and these could be used at a vendor to get you a bit of gear for a specific slot. Well, this time none of that exists, and I think it's a real missed opportunity. I think that having a game-wide World Quest currency along with some compelling rewards would probably drive people to just casually play the game a little bit more. You know, why have a mount on a vendor for 500,000 gold when that could maybe be a part of a World Quest currency reward system? Sure, it might be a bit of a grind, but I think that would be a good motivation for people to do that content, unlike, you know, say Champion Azeroth's rep. It wouldn't feel that mandatory, so there wouldn't be much of a downside. Imagine if Legion's World Quest had a shared currency with a bunch of rewards that maybe contained the Paragon cash mounts. I think that would have driven people to do a lot more World Quests throughout the life of Legion than the system that they ended up implementing, where the mounts were a random reward from the Paragon chests. Of course, thankfully, Blizzard have said that they're not going to do that with mounts again, but I think the topic is good food for thought. I think their aversion to currencies is sometimes hurting their ability to create lasting rewards for the game, and, you know, even talking about things outside of just gearing, like, say, mounts for a currency. So overall, while this is definitely not a groundbreaking feature and it is just a tweak on the Legion invasions, you know what? I was surprised how much more playable these felt in comparison to other forms of world content because of how the spawning of the world quests was handled, even though on paper they are very similar. So basically, I think that having world quests appear in a more clustered manner on the map would be a really good step. It would cut down on travel time, and that would mean that the gameplay signal to noise ratio would be a little bit better. You see, the problem is that, like, part of the allure for Blizzard of world quests is they get to reuse leveling content, but I think a version could work where, say, an area becomes active, like with a theme. As an example, Alliance soldiers have you know, assaulted Bomsamdi's necropolis, so for, like, you know, 2 days maybe the area phase changes into a new version. You find 3 or 4 world quests in that area based on this Alliance attack. Once you finish the final world quest, maybe you get a mini boss to kill, and that gets you some loot. I actually think that doing that for almost all world quests and making them little stories and little events, I think that would be a great way to make world quests feel more engaging to do at endgame, rather than just being a bunch of random disconnected quests. And they could actually use world quests in a system like that to I guess just give you more of a feel that things are going on in the world. So what I would say to Blizzard is, I actually think they've made a small tweak with how these incursions happen, but that tweak was interesting and how effective it was in making the World Quest system feel a bit better. So because of that, I'd be very interested to see if they'd be, you know, at all open to changing up how they do some of their regular World Quests, because I think there's some potentially great lessons to learn here. So there you go. Does this, you know, is this like a savior of a patch or, you know, a massive thing? No, it's not, but it is a small, nice little thing that, you know, I saw and I was pleasantly surprised by how much, you know, it exceeded my admittedly rather low expectations, but, you know, it exceeded them. And yeah, pretty cool. I suppose it does open up the idea that World Quest could maybe have a little bit more potential in them if Blizzard were to, I think, more deftly handle the spawning of regular World Quests in the future. So let me know what you think about this system, and let me know what you think about how Blizzard's small change, you know, was effective, and you think that could be reused in other places. Thank you very much for watching this video, though, and with that, I will see you next time.
Mm-hmm.